Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Week 18 of the NFL season. This is Chalk Talk. I'm joined by Corey, Alex, and Nick. Today, we're going to be breaking down the DFS main slate. We're going to skip the Saturday slate just because too many unknowns right now. That would have to be its own separate video if we were to break that down. So we're going to focus on the main slate. It's a big one. A lot to talk about. There's a lot of unknowns in this as well, but we know a lot of teams that do have something to play for. And honestly, I think that's where people should kind of stick to this week is the teams that are going to be playing the full game. And then the teams that are not going to be playing the full game, you can take stabs at some of their backups. But I would really avoid the games where you don't know, like where they could just be pulled at halftime. I would strongly avoid some of those. So we'll talk about that. We're doing a giveaway. So if you in the comment section, if you can comment the highest scoring team this week, we'll be giving away a $25 gift card to Amazon. No one's won it yet. Haven't had many comments, but finally we're announcing this at the beginning of the show. So maybe someone will comment this time. I don't think I'm missing anything here. I think we could jump into this later. All right. Well, first game up, this is one of the first kind of unknowns because we have Green Bay going into Detroit. We think there's a good chance Rodgers will play like a half, or the starters will play a half. But then they could pull their starters if they have a comfortable lead, or just for health reasons. They have that one seed secured. This is probably more of just Rodgers maybe throwing for one or two, just kind of securing his MVP here. So what do you guys think? What are some plays here?
Staying away from this one. I feel like if Rodgers does play for a half, which is still even an uncertain thing to say, like they're going to take a lead and it's against the Lions. So I don't love the game script here. And this early in the week, it's kind of hard to tell too, how much you're going to get of like even some skill players like Devontae or Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon even. So probably avoiding this one, but Corey and Nick, you guys got anything for this?
Yeah, I like the running backs in this matchup. I think AJ Dillon is probably like the safest play from this game. At $6,200, I think they're probably going to rest Aaron Jones debatably the whole game. We know AJ Dillon's got a lot of talent for a backup as well. So I like that pick. And, we've been riding Amon-Ra St. Brown, cashed in the Millie Maker last week because of him and Berrios, I think. So you finally see his price starting to go up, and I'm not going to bite this week at him, as great as he's been doing, just because it's just such an uncertain game. I don't really think the Lions are playing for much. I mean, we'll see, but I don't know. For $6,800, I think there's just better plays in games, teams are going for it. So to me, it's just too big of a risk there. So really just sticking to AJ Dillon, maybe a little DeAndre Swift too, but last week was kind of weird for him.
I was gonna mention DeAndre, but they said last week that he's fully healthy and that he's gonna get a huge workload, and he touched the ball like 5 times.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And Dan Campbell came out and said that he didn't want to play him in a meaningless game. So, I mean, with that being said, why would he play him in this game going forward at 5,900? So again, I think Alex is right. I think this is a game where you might be able to take a stab somewhere, like one of the receiving options for Green Bay. Like, I don't know. Let's see here. Say
Juan Winfrey, he would be the only. I think he's the only receiving option I had to consider, just because they do play the backups. But
well, I mean, St. Brown versus St. Brown. I mean, no one's talking about that. So.
Yeah, right. I love the St. Browns.
Yeah.
Any relation there? Brothers, cousins?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're brothers.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, I mean, it's not really a place where you're not going to spend money on Devontae Adams for a half. I mean, it's just not worth it. So, yeah, maybe this is a game where you play defense. I don't know. See, I think this is a game where you just stay away from.
Yeah, and like you can't even go to like Jordan Love. He's still at 5,500.
Right.
It's way too
It's only, you
expensive
can
for
only
him.
play him if Rodgers is just not playing at all.
Right. Like if
Um,
that news came out for some reason, like you can't even really go to the well with that. So
No, not at all.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Moving on here.
To me, it's just I think Patrick Taylor's in play, running back at 4K. If they do announce, like, let's say Rodgers plays, but he's just in for some, I don't know, MVP run, and then they just kind of let Dillon and Jones sit. Patrick Taylor's going to play the whole game at 4K. I'm kind of interested in that. But yeah, other than that, Jawan Winfrey is thin play, but it's really thin. But if they do rest the starters, I think he's my favorite receiver, but nothing on the Lions, I don't think. Next game, we have Indianapolis going into Jacksonville. So we do think this game, both teams should be playing their full game. Obviously the Colts are, and the Jags are just trying to play spoiler here. Corey, Mr. Colts fan, I know obviously there's some plays in here. What do you think?
I mean, every week it's Jonathan Taylor. I mean, you can't get away. I mean, 9,300. He's one of the most expensive players on the slate this week. But going into Jacksonville, what
really paid for that much money since week 13?
So that's what my point is sometimes with playing and fading him is he's become, since Derrick Henry's been injured, he's become the new Derrick Henry, where he can just break a slate because he gets his 130 and 2 touchdowns, and then he finally catches the ball. Or if he gets just even 100 yards and a touchdown, he's not paying off his price. He needs to hit the box twice, pretty much, to pay and get over 100 yards to pay.
Yeah, I mean, last time the Jaguars they played, he had 22 carries, 115 yards and touchdown. And then he also had 6 receptions as well to go along with.
That's what JT. It's like it was same with Derrick Henry. Whenever he started getting involved in the passing game, it was just that. I mean, you're dead if you have him. But when he's not, you're kind of dead if you did play him. I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna keep dying on the hill. I think. I mean, I love the guy as a player, as a person. Obviously, he's on my Colts, so I enjoy him even more. But I mean, in a spot where you have to win to make it into the playoffs, like you're gonna stick with your best player, your bell cow. And I think this is a spot where he does it. And last week, against the Raiders, obviously Carson Wentz was, he was healthy enough to play, but I mean, he cost the Colts the game. He played terrible. Was he a better option than Sam Ehlinger? Probably. Yeah. But I'm just like, now being after a full week, should be fully healthy now from COVID. So at 5,800, I mean, that's kind of, especially with the
leverage, I think.
Yeah, especially with the slate where, a lot of these big name quarterbacks may not even be playing a full game. At 5,800, you can get a nice little stack with him and Michael Pittman at 5,900 as well. I mean, Michael Pittman's kind of been blah the last couple of weeks. He's been getting the receptions, but not the yards. And maybe, this is the week where he breaks the slate and goes for, if you want to pivot off Jonathan Taylor, I think it's a good stack to have.
My favorite play from this game, and probably what I'm putting in the Millie Maker, is the Colts defense. They looked really great against the Raiders last week. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have to pass the ball a lot, so we like to play defenses that are facing the pass a lot. Good interception potential there. And Trevor Lawrence is not very good, as we know. So I think Darius Leonard could feast on him, maybe get a pick 6 for a nice little Millie Maker win for me. Who knows? But I kind of like Pittman at 5,900 too. I think that's pretty good upside for that price against a really porous secondary of the Jaguars. So he's a pretty interesting play to me this week.
Alex?
Jonathan Taylor, evergreen. I mean, you've got to at least have him in a couple of lineups because like we were saying before, he can break a slate. So if you've got none of him and he does break the slate, you're SOL.
Yep.
And to Nick's point, Darius Leonard, I saw some insane stats on him this last day or two. 57 games, 530 tackles, 16 forced fumbles, 11 interceptions, 15 sack. Like the dude, and like they've got him compared to like Bobby Wagner, Roquan Smith, Tremaine Edmonds. Jeez, I can't talk. Levante David, like top tier guys, and he's leagues above them in pretty much everything but tackles with Bobby Wagner. So yeah, Colts defense definitely a play against probably the worst team in the league here in the Jaguars. So yeah, I agree with both of you guys there.
Yeah, I think Taylor obviously will be one of the chalkier plays of the week, but I think, that's fine. This isn't like last week. I strongly preferred Cup to Taylor, and I know it ended up, I think Cup only beat him by like 0.1 or something.
Yeah.
But it was more of if you saw, like there was like Singletary had a great game. Like you had some of those cheap running back pieces that were in the optimal. This week, though, I think you can go either way. I think there's going to be some great receiver value just because of teams that might sit starters. And I think there's going to end up being great running back value. So you can do either one this week. So for that reason, Taylor will be in play for me this week. Like I'll have probably a decent amount of him. I think the leverage off of Taylor, like in this game, if you really just wanted to like get a ton of leverage, is just pivot straight to Wentz and Pittman because they should be pretty low owned. And that's like the perfect leverage because if Taylor fails here, it's probably because Wentz and like Pittman are going to have a really good game. And so, yeah, I could see myself doing that. And I think if I do the Wentz Pittman stack, I think my favorite bring back might be punting at tight end with James O'Shaughnessy, just because I always like targeting the Colts with tight ends.
Except for last week they played pretty well against tight ends.
Yeah, they did last week, but I'm just talking like at a larger sample size. They've just
I know
it hasn't been good. And then I'll also have Marvin Jones just in play if I'm only if I'm playing Wentz and Pittman. Will I have Marvin Jones in a few lineups just because he has the potential to break a slate with his play style. And then of course I will have some Colts defense. So
yeah. Well, and besides playing spoiler, the Jacksonville Jaguars have nothing to play. They have the number one pick right now. So they're
still going to try to play spoiler, I think here.
I mean, they might, but everyone's going to be dressed up in clown outfits there in the stadium because of Shad Khan. They want him to fire the GM and start over, but we'll see. I'll be there. So
no,
you're going to go spread some COVID to the NFL.
Well, yeah, if I can get out of the COVID protocols, I'll be at the game.
Corey's got to clear the COVID protocols with the new protocols. He should be fine.
Yeah. FBI is going to be knocking on your door since we posted that on, social media. You're doomed, guy.
All right. Next game, we have Washington going into the New York Giants.
Hey, Saquon had his best game of the year.
Yeah,
last week,
100 yards.
Put up 100 yards finally. Week 17, still only put up 13 points. The Saquon era is over. There's not much more to say.
Yeah, I think that both these teams should be, because Heineke still has incentives, and like it's a divisional game. They're still going to want to like end on a high note of some sort. I think at least these teams will play their starters, but I mean, there's still not much to bite here.
No, Washington came out and said that this is going to be a young players game.
Oh, okay.
So this could be a game where you see, a little bit of Heineke, but then they pull him and they bring in someone else in. At least that's what Rivera said. So I think this is a game where you can get really screwed if you're playing starters here, because I think they can get pulled at any time during the game.
Okay.
So does that mean we're going to get a Darius Geis sighting?
No, you can't play
on the team.
Here, stop. Yeah, I don't even think he's on the team.
He's not even on the team.
Remember, he was supposed to be so good.
Yeah, they did hype that guy up.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there is nothing here. There's no receiver on the Giants, no tight end. Like defenses, I guess you could play here, and that's probably it.
I mean, this
Do
would be
we
the
want to
week
waste our
where
time on this game?
I mean,
No.
well, I'm just gonna say this
Maybe
could be the
throw
week.
in a Sandro Platzgummer, running back for the Giants.
If
Just
Sandro
talk about leverage.
Plattgummer is in the Millie Maker winning lineup,
Talk about leverage. I mean,
I won't
that's your
ever
leverage play of the
play
day.
DFS again.
This could be a Kenny Galladay game for just some odd reason. I don't know why. I'm just mentioning it because he hasn't done anything all year, and I know the Giants are going to be playing their guys at least, but I was just saying on the Washington side that they might be switching people in and out. But I think this is a game where if you think in your head like, oh, this could be like a decently high scoring game or whatever, just take like one piece from it. That's it.
I'm avoiding it, I think, completely.
Pass.
All right, next game we have Chicago going to Minnesota. Justin Fields looks like we'll be starting here. I don't think there's a whole lot here, but I think there's a few pieces that as both these teams should be trying. I think we have some head coaches that, like we said yesterday, playing just for maybe a future coaching job and just not.
It's an interview. Let's be honest.
They're not trying to just go out there and just lay over. So it is a divisional game. So what do you guys have here?
Yeah. I mean, even with the coaches saying, unfortunately, they're not on the field and the players are probably only going to be giving 75% for this game. So I actually don't like playing a Dalvin Cook or Justin Jefferson. I think, they tend to protect superstars, maybe sit out a drive here and there, and it's just going to affect their production. So I think
what's
it's
the
only
reason you think that they don't play the whole game?
just like they're just going to rotate other guys in.
You think?
They don't need to be on the field for the whole game, running themselves into the ground. I think they'll play, but they don't have the motivation, and just the drive isn't going to be there. I don't think so. I think it's like more dangerous to play higher priced players in this because of that. So I'm kind of fading Jefferson and Cook, but I like Darnell Mooney. I think Justin Fields will try and get it going, but he's had I think he's had three 20-point games with Justin Fields. So he feels like a nice one at 5,900.
I also like David Montgomery in this. We saw him do this last year where these last 3-4 games of the season, he really, for whatever reason, just picks it up. And I think with not a ton on the line for either team other than maybe a next coaching job interview piece, you could see him fall into the end zone once or twice like he did last week. Like he didn't necessarily, like he put up 64 yards on 22 attempts, but he got into the end zone twice, and so paid for that price there. And at 6,800, I think compared to some other games where guys aren't going to be playing for anything, I think if you want to attack this one, I think Montgomery is a great play.
Yeah, I'm on the fence with this game. I actually think that these teams, since it is a divisional game, I think they play it out.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that it's going to be like Jefferson might not play 100%, but I think he plays enough to be efficient enough to be able to, maybe not pay off his salary, but enough to pick him if you are going to play Jefferson. The only issue is the Bears defense has been pretty good as of late in the receiving game. And actually just in general, their defense has been playing pretty well. And, the Vikings are, they're coming off a performance where they lost out in the playoffs, which is what it is. But I still think, people are going to be playing. This might be the last time we see Allen Robinson in a Bears uniform. So maybe at 4K, he puts one up on the
He's been dealing with COVID. He lost like 10 pounds or something.
Yeah, I know he's not fully healthy. I was just throwing out there, but so I don't mind Jefferson at 8,100. I mean, I think there's other places you can go, but if you're trying to be completely different and think that, a lot of people are gonna be thinking like how Nick's thinking, like, well, I don't think he's gonna play the entire game. And what if he ends up playing the entire game and it's like, 30 to 25 game or whatever it might be, and he puts up 2 touchdowns. So it is a thought. And then Kirk Cousins 6,100. They are at home. He plays better at home. He's in a dome. I don't mind it at 6,100. He's had a pretty good year all around with yards and touchdowns and stuff like that. I like it. So I like Kirk Cousins. I like Jefferson in this game.
For me, it's probably just David Montgomery and Jefferson. I think Jefferson's my favorite play from this game. I mean, Jefferson is so good. And the times that I'm worried about like wide receiver cornerback matchups is when like the receiver isn't like an alpha, and I consider Justin Jefferson an alpha. And when you have an alpha receiver, cornerback matchups don't matter as much to me. So I don't think anyone on the Bears can really stop Jefferson. I don't think I'm going to play the quarterbacks from this game. I guess I don't mind the tight ends here at their cheap price tags. Conklin at 4.2, Kmet without Thielen. Conklin's target share has gone up. And then Cole Kmet, I actually like a decent amount just because he's really cheap. And Kmet has yet to score a touchdown. And Fields does love targeting him. So that's kind of where I'm at in this game. But not a whole lot. Next game, and then Vikings defense, I guess, just because we know Fields is prone to just really bad games. So I'm just going to have a little bit of Vikings D. Next game, we have Tennessee going into Houston. This game's another one. Tennessee is going to be playing the whole game. They'll be playing their starters. Houston's here just to play spoiler in the sense of like, I mean, what it's basically
Tennessee might not play their starters.
Oh, that's only if the Chiefs lost to the Broncos.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm just.
So they're most likely playing. Yeah. So if the Broncos beat the Chiefs, then yeah, this game maybe just cross it out. But likely the Chiefs beat the Broncos, and then Tennessee has something to play for. So should be playing their starters the whole game. I don't think there's still a whole lot from this game. But I think there's definitely some pieces that have potential. Like there's slate breaking pieces in this game, I think, at least to consider.
Are we gonna talk about like Davis Mills here?
Oh no, he wasn't one of the ones I think can break the slate.
I mean, at 5,300,
that is the Titans, but
he's a solid cheap option.
Okay. So you take away last week's game. Before that, he went 18, 15, 21, and then he had a 3, and then he had 24. I mean, when he's had the chance, whoa, he's had the chance. COVID voice coming in. I don't mind him. He's like, for what he's been doing, I mean, he's been solid for his price. At 5,300, we know Tennessee's defense is not like the greatest, so I think it's a kind of a look at. Especially if they're at home, he plays better at home, so.
So I'm just guessing you would have to play Brandon Cooks and every Davis.
Yeah, you definitely play Brandon Cooks with him. I mean, 6,300.
To me, it's more of like the Tannehill side. Like I just don't think I'm gonna play Tannehill just because his upside is like the Titans run the ball so much. That's just how, even without Derrick Henry, that's just how they like to play. So against Houston, I mean, Deontay Foreman at 5'7" is quite a good play to me. Especially like, they get a lead, they're just going to want to just pound it on the ground until they just walk away with this win and not put, some of their other players in positions to maybe get injured. They're just going to run it a ton, I think. But I do think AJ Brown, you have to consider at 7K, like that dude.
Yes.
He's like what we're talking when I talk about a player that can break a slate, that he's one of them. So, I mean, I guess with having considering, because I do like Cooks, like going against Tennessee, I've loved targeting this defense in the secondaries, and Davis Mills loves the guy. And so I do like Cooks a lot this week as well. So if I do play a quarterback, it would be probably like Tannehill, AJ Brown, run it back with Cooks. But I think I'm more just going to try to grab a piece of this game rather than stack it.
Yeah, I like what you were saying about Tennessee here. I think the running backs are in a good spot too. I actually like Hilliard more just with the pass catching abilities. But he's still, they still used him around the goal line. And I think what they're going to try and do is figure out which one of these guys are going to play in a support role with Derrick Henry once he's back. So I think they're both going to be hustling pretty hard here for a shot at playing in the postseason once Derrick Henry gets back. So I think Hilliard's probably just a better matchup. He's a little bit different of a running back. So I'm just leaning that way a little bit. I think he's going to try and show some stardom here.
Yeah, I lean more Foreman though, for sure, because I think if you're talking about someone trying to show stardom, I think Foreman's a guy who might be on another team next year. And I think you've seen him put up, was it 200-yard games in the last 3 games here?
Yeah, he had like 30 carries last week, I think.
The Titans, that's what I'm saying. It's hard
Yeah.
to play Tannehill, like even if like that's why I think just like grabbing the piece, like whether like if it's AJ Brown that goes off, it's probably not Foreman. So you pick one, you pick the other, mix in some of them both. But
yeah, I guess it comes down to what game script you think, because that's a very good point, PB. You've got Foreman putting up 22 fantasy points last week because they were up 34-3, and AJ Brown puts up like 6. But then the week before, Foreman put up 7 and AJ Brown had like 35.
right.
So do we think Houston's going to be able to give Tennessee any sort of a game?
And I don't even mind like a skinny stack, which is like it's just a secondary correlation. So if you thought like Tennessee Houston shoots out, right? We don't really like the quarterbacks. Like you don't think that quarterbacks necessarily could be in the winning lineup. What you do is you could pick like a Foreman, Brandon Cooks like mini correlation to where if the game's high scoring, Foreman could be in the winner and Cooks could be in the winner, but the quarterbacks aren't. So when you play DFS, having your stack with your quarterback is important, but also having secondary stacks in your correlations are very important as well in other games that you think can shoot out. So this could be a qualifier for like a skinny stack.
Easier to get right about 2 games than to get right about 6.
Exactly. Yep. So next game, we have Pittsburgh going into Baltimore. Both these teams, there's a very small percentage chance either of them makes the playoffs. Is the Colts game going? Yeah, we already talked about the Colts game. So it's happening simultaneously. So we're assuming both these teams still are trying to play for a win. It's Big Ben's last game. Like we know he's probably going to be in the whole time. And we don't know if Lamar is playing or if it's probably not Lamar.
Hasn't been at practice yet this week.
Yeah, it's probably so it's still probably Huntley. Still like second time divisional teams play each other. I think there's pieces that could go off, but I mean, what do you guys think?
I like Devonta Freeman here. I think he could fall in for a couple of like goal line scores. They hand him. I mean, he's definitely the lead back there now, and he gets a lot of red zone touches. He hasn't produced much in the last couple of games, but when they played the Steelers last, 50 yards and a touchdown, a couple of receptions, put up 20 points against them. Supposed to be kind of rainy, kind of sloppy weather, so I think could lean more on the running backs here. And at 5,200, I feel like he could find the end zone once, maybe twice.
Yeah, I mean, I like Foreman. I think my favorite play is probably gonna be Deontay Johnson. Still, I mean, at 7,600, he is pricey.
He wrecked the Ravens last time they played too. Like he was on the Million Maker winner last time they played.
Yeah, and he just gets targeted so much. I mean, Big Ben's always looking his way. And I mean, last week he went for like 8 for like 30, but he had a touchdown. I mean, that's all you need for. That's not all you need.
Big Ben throws the ball like 2 yards. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, his arm strength's not there. So like that makes me not like Claypool. I mean, he'll throw up like one or two deep balls at Claypool, but that's about it. Deontay Johnson's just running like the underneath routes.
Yeah, Claypool's
55 times a game.
So bad. Like the only route that he runs is a fade or a streak. Like that's the only thing he knows how to do.
Yeah, he does have like he can make some pretty incredible catches, and he is a receiver that like, well, I think all three of the receivers in this game, Claypool, Marquise Brown, and Deontay Johnson, are the type of player that can break slates because of how they play. But it's just about, I don't think this is a shootout, but it's just maybe picking one piece that could go off.
Yeah. So I like Johnson. I mean, quarterbacks. I mean, Big Ben. You've had a hell of a career, but I mean, when you go 24-46 for 123 and a touchdown, like, dude, they were trying to
home game send off,
and they were trying to get you to like, have like one of those,
Kobe game.
Big Ben-esque like 500-yard, like 5 touchdown game, and you just couldn't do it. So, yeah, if anything, I'm just taking like a little piece from here. I love the Foreman pick, and then I like the Johnson or Freeman, not Foreman. Sorry, Freeman.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to Najee Harris a lot here. I mean, he had 28 attempts last week, even with Big Ben throwing it 60 times. Like, he's kind of the focal point of that offense. I think that actually somewhat produces. I know his like efficiency metrics aren't the greatest, but the volume's what you want to see in your fantasy guys. So I don't think that ends here against just kind of like right now they're playing very average defense in Baltimore. So if it's a rainy game, I like that game script for him even more. So maybe he jukes a few guys out and has another 50-yard touchdown run. So
yeah,
I'm going to play Najee from this one, but I don't like Marquise Brown. I don't think, Hundley and him have a good, chemistry going, and he probably is not going to be tossing them 50 yards like we need the Marquise Brown balls to be going. So I would fade him. Mark Andrews is probably a play too, but
for me, I think this could be a pretty slow-paced game just because Ravens like to run the ball a lot. The Steelers like to run the ball a lot. Could just be a really fast game. So I think I'm avoiding the quarterbacks, and then I'll probably just sprinkle in some of these guys. Like I'll have a few Najee lineups and a few Deontay Johnson and Claypool. I think, I don't know, the Ravens are tough. Like the Mark Andrews is like too expensive for me specifically to play him at tight end, and then at receiver, like I don't want Marquise Brown and I guess Devontae Freeman, but they still rotate a bunch of guys. It's mostly an avoid for me, but I'll sprinkle in some of the Steelers guys, I guess. Next game we have Cincinnati going into Cleveland. It's already announced Joe Burrow will not be playing. They have a team total of like 15 points right now. Cleveland starting Case Keenum. I honestly just think this is literally like the Browns defense is probably like the only thing I would be playing from this game. Like I don't think you can play anything else.
Defense is pretty banged up right now.
But I doesn't like it's more of playing the backup Bengals quarterback and backup Bengals guys.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of the Myles Garrett's taking snaps off, and not going to play anyone from this game. Just doesn't really mean anything. I think Cincy will probably just run Joe Mixon a whole bunch or something.
Mixon's
I don't know.
Mixon's out.
He's not playing either.
So, yeah, he's out. So actually, P Ryan at 5,300.
P Ryan, I guess.
He's going to play a whole game. I'll have some of him. So I guess Browns defense and P Ryan are like it.
Is Kareem Hunt going to play this game?
No, I don't think so.
Because I don't think Chubb plays this game. He's limited, ribs, chest. We saw him he only played like 50% of the snaps last week. And Dearness Johnson is on COVID, so then it leaves you with Felton and Kareem Hunt.
They might run the rookie Felton, see what he could do in like a lead back type of role.
This is what we're talking about. Like when news comes out, like let Chubb, Hunt, Johnson, like so they're all out, and it's just Felton's backfield. Like what is he 4K? Yeah, like
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just a look at. So that's the only thing that interests me out of this, because I mean, yeah, I'm not going to touch any of the tight ends for Cleveland, even though this could be like.
No, there's no way you can touch a Cleveland tight end on 14 games late.
Yeah, no,
no way.
maybe Schwartz at
Like
3,200.
we're talking, like we see it, like you see these tournament lineups, like you're needing like minimum of 20 plus, pretty much, like oftentimes 30 plus, like at positions to like take down stuff. Like that's the
Yeah.
type of thing we need. So, all right, next game we have Carolina going into Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they said they're playing their starters, but if they have like a comfortable lead, then you could see them start taking them out. It depends. Like Gronk, we talked yesterday about the incentives. Like Gronk has, if he gets 7 catches and is 85 yards or whatever, that's another like $1 million. And then obviously needs the 3 touchdowns for the other $500,000, I think. But you could see definitely Brady leaning on Gronk here, I think, especially now with no AB. I mean,
I kind of like Keyshawn Vaughn in this one. I think he could be good with Fournette on IR. Ronald Jones is questionable, and
if he's out though, I don't know if you can play Keyshawn Vaughn, Jones.
But I think they'll use him if they have a big lead. They're not going to run Rojo, so one of those very situational plays for leverage, but pretty risky at 5,300. So maybe you just fade that. I don't really like anyone on the Panthers.
I like cheap wide receiver play Cyril Grayson, 4,400. He's been basically in the AB role in that offense, and I do think unless, and what will likely happen is they'll get a large lead and then pull guys, but BA has said that they're going out there to win. So I think you at least get more of a chance at a winner here than you would in like the Packers game, where we know the starters are going to play, but like I think we get more Tampa Bay starters, and potentially if Carolina can keep it somewhat close, like you might get a full game out of them. So yeah, at 4,400, Cyril Grayson, I think could be a good cheap option at receiver.
Yeah. I was going to mention him, but the thing is, I think he might be, especially off last week, he might be pretty popular at his position. So if he's going to be popular and, Mike Evans misses, like, you can go to Johnson, who's been there. You go to Perriman for 600 more. We're not saying Perriman's done much, but it's just depending on how this game,
the news breaks.
Yeah, the news breaks to where to go with. But yeah,
I think
Tom
we're
Brady,
talking about the wrong side of the ball here for plays.
You think Carolina is the play?
I think, like, I'm not excluding Sam Darnold from my player pool this week. Like I've teams that have been playing, like one of the biggest reasons why I loved Berrios last week was because they were playing the Bucks, which, one, they have a bad secondary, and 2, every team that plays the Bucks is forced to pass the entire game. Like they have no choice. And because they have a great running defense, like teams are basically just forced into passing so much. And it's very condensed target share in Carolina. It's Robbie Anderson and it's DJ Moore, mainly DJ Moore. I absolutely love DJ Moore here. Like he's one of my favorite receiver plays on the entire slate. And for that reason, I'm going to have some of Sam Darnold, not a lot, but because I think there's some other pricier quarterbacks that are in must wins that could be much better plays, but he's super cheap and he opens up a lot. And, I don't even mind like a double stack, like Darnold, Moore, Anderson. I think in that case, I think you always run it back with a buck. I've not played Gronk like at all this year, but this is probably the first week that I will be for those incentives. Because he hits like 15 targets. I mean, like if he needs 7 for 85, like you gotta think like Brady like really forces that.
Yeah, he definitely will.
And then you get a touchdown. If he gets that 7 for 85 and a touchdown, that's already 21 points. If he gets that 100-yard bonus, that's another he's in the mid 20s and he's probably in the winner.
Yeah, no, I like Gronk. I mean, I was on the Patriots last week, or the Bucks last week. I mean,
So
granted,
nobody's
I
playing
didn't.
Le'Veon?
Yeah, they being on the Bucks last week was there was no Bucks that was in an optimal lineup.
Tom Brady, wasn't he? He had 30
Brady
points.
was the only because he got there, but AB was the most popular. He got out. Ronald Jones was the next most popular. He got injured early. Gronk still a whole lot. Like, I don't know.
So nobody's playing Le'Veon Bell?
No. And you should not either. But yeah, no, I really do think that the Panthers are actually a pretty sneaky stack this week, but mainly getting like DJ Moore or even, I mean, I obviously prefer DJ Moore to Anderson. Like, especially, isn't Robbie Anderson is almost like in the 5? Yeah, he's 4.5. I thought he was 5. But I mean, DJ Moore at under 6K. I mean, that seems real good to me. But you know, that's just one of my favorite plays. So anything else?
Nope.
All right, next game we have New England going into Miami. New England should be playing this whole game. They're battling for the division. I still think there's pretty much, in my opinion, there's no plays here besides the Patriots defense. So that's all I have in this game. I don't like anything else.
Yeah, I think I called out Ramondre last week, and they obviously, I mean, you could have picked either running back last week and done well, but I don't know. He seems too pricey this week against a good Miami run defense.
Yeah, I don't like the matchup as much this week. I'm fading this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you guys. I don't see many plays from here.
It's from the ball. It's just, this is just yeah.
I mean, maybe Hunter Henry, just because I mention him every week. But I mean, he went 3 for 5. I mean, he hasn't done much since the Colts game. So, but he's at where he's at, priced at. I like it. So.
Okay. Well, next game we have the Saints going into Atlanta. We know this is a great game to target for on the Saints side because we know they're going to be playing the entire game. This is a must win, a lot of motivation. So I'll go first just because obviously I'm the Saints fan here. So Taysom Hill is one of my favorite quarterback plays of the week. I mean, he's probably the cash game quarterback at 6.2 thousand going against the Falcons. He's in years past, he's always played well against the Falcons. It was Simeon earlier this year when they played. But I mean, Taysom should be able to run all over this team. Besides AJ Terrell, we talk about he's the only guy you really have to avoid, but the rest of their defense, like secondary, is not good at all. So, I mean, I don't think Terrell like shadows anyone like here. So I think one of Deontay Harris, Traquan Smith, or Callaway could have a really big game. My favorite is probably Deontay Harris, just because one, he's only 3.2K and he's been Taysom's favorite target throughout.
Taysom's?
Yeah, Taysom. And then so if I'm playing Taysom, I usually always stack, but this is a game where I really find it tough to have a bring back because Pitts is dealing with hamstring injury. There's a chance he doesn't even play. And then Russell Gage should just be shadowed by Lattimore. So I guess and then Cordero Patterson, the Saints have an amazing run defense. I know he got there last time they played with that long catch at the end, but I wouldn't bank on that happening again. So, I mean, if you were to play one Falcon, the only one I would say is that Olamide Zacchaeus. He scored 2 touchdowns against the Saints last time. He put up like over 20 fantasy points, but that's how you have to beat the Saints, is with your secondary options, because Lattimore usually takes out the number one. You can't run, and then you have to beat us, with your secondary receivers, and that would be Taji Sharp and Zacchaeus.
There's no M in
Zacchaeus or something. I don't know. But it's hard for me to even play that. Like, for me,
he's gonna be so mad when he hears you talking his name like that.
Honestly, like if it's gonna be tough for me not to play a Saint in this game because like if I'm not playing Taysom, I'm gonna want to play Kamara because Kamara is a fantastic play here as well. He's
First price, that's pretty good.
What?
8,300.
Yeah, but I honestly worry. I hope if Ingram's out, oh, I really love Kamara. But if Ingram's back in, that's when it gets murky because they all vulture each other. So that would probably make just Taysom my favorite overall play from this game. But you don't double stack Taysom. You only play him with probably one guy. And Deontay Harris is my favorite, but I will have some Traquan and Callaway. And Saints defense, I think, is a good play as well. Not a great play, but Matt Ryan does throw a lot.
Yeah. I think you should avoid a Tony Jones play. I did that once this year. Thought I'd throw it out there.
What about what we should play? Not ones that no one's playing.
It's equally as important, the process of elimination.
All right, make sure you don't play
Blake Bortles.
Mike Davis,
Tony Jones.
Blake Bortles. Don't play.
I like the if Cordell Patterson's gonna be catching the ball in the backfield like he did last game against the Saints, which he went 6 for 6, but you called it out. He scored on the long touchdown to get him there. But if they're
in the last 2 games, he has 9 attempts and 2 targets and 7 attempts and 2 targets.
Well, I mean, those were different games. I mean, if the game script goes his way this week, I mean, last time they played, you saw his stat line.
He had 6 targets, but he still only had 9 rushing attempts and he had 10 yards rushing. It's a thin play, I think, but if you want to
No, it definitely is. I mean, I've been off Patterson all year, but if it's a division game, they can play spoiler to the Saints as well, so they'll be highly motivated. So, I mean, I don't mind the Patterson play. 6,400. I don't think he's going to be very highly owned. And then, PB, you kind of nailed it for everyone else. I mean, the secondary plays for Falcons, Matt Ryan at 5,200. I mean, if he's going to be throwing
I actually thought about who are you stacking him with?
Yeah, I mean, Patterson out of the backfield, and then, I mean, you just basically you close your eyes and you pick because you have. I mean, if anyone can decipher that, then let us know because I would like to know.
Avoid the Falcons, but it's going to be a tough, especially with Pitts. That's going to get ugly for the Falcons without having Pitts on the field. I mean, Gage shouldn't be able to do a thing. I just don't know how the Falcons can attack the Saints, especially if Pitts doesn't play.
I like their defense too. If I'm not playing the Colts, I'm playing the Saints.
Alex?
Yeah, you guys covered it all. Let's go on to the next one.
All right, we have New York Jets going into Buffalo. Very one-sided game here, in my opinion. Just saying, I don't think you need to have a run back if you stack Buffalo here, but we'll go ahead and start it off, Alex.
Yeah, probably my favorite running back play of the week is Devin Singletary. I mean, pretty much play any running back against the Jets, and you're probably going to do okay. And he has clearly separated himself as the guy in Buffalo. I also think, to your point about being a one-sided affair, this could get ugly very quickly. And Buffalo is likely, unless they get a 3-score lead, going to keep their starters in for most of the game because they still want to win this. So Singletary for me is a smash play here. I know he'll probably be pretty high owned just given his price and the last couple of games he's put up, but I just don't think you can go wrong running with a running back against the Jets.
Nick?
Yeah, that was my only play. I'm not sure that I'll see if lightning strikes twice with Barrios this week. That's for sure.
No, don't play Barrios.
Not against the Bills.
No.
Yeah, that was a one-hit wonder. I'm glad we all played it and caught that, but I don't think it continues here. I do like the Singletary call out. Said 4 or 5 really good games in a row, and he's my favorite 6,000 running back. So,
Josh Allen's probably my favorite quarterback this week by far. I mean, if you're going to tell me he's going to run the ball at least 10 times this game, I mean, he's done that the last 3 or 4 games. He's rushed. I mean, it's insane what he's doing. I mean, which really sucks for Devin Singletary because Josh Allen definitely took away at least 1, maybe 2 touchdowns from him last week. But I mean, Josh Allen, I mean, his points 42, 21, 33, 23. I mean, he's doing it. Like, even if he's having a bad passing game, he's still getting it done in the rushing game. And they are going to be playing this entire game. He is going to be throwing the ball. This game is it's in Buffalo. So if it's cold again, literally play. I think you can get away playing Singletary and Josh Allen and not running back with the receiver. That's just my thought. Because they're both going to be running the ball a lot. But if you are going to be playing a pass catcher from Buffalo, I don't know. It falls off after Stephon Diggs because you got Davis, Beasley, then you got Sanders, you got McKenzie. So they haven't really established like a 2-3 yet. I mean, Beasley is there for the 2, but I don't know. He doesn't really do much in upside wise. He's volume, but he's not getting into the end zone. So if you're going to take a shot at someone, I mean, you can go. I mean, I want to say Davis because he of that one game he went 5 for 7 for like 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. Last week he went for 3 for 3 for 40. So I mean, he is getting the looks, deep threat maybe, but I think you can play Diggs or you can play Allen, you can play Singletary, and that's about it.
Yep, for me it's 0 Jets. This is a game where when you have a team total, like the Colts have the highest team total, but I think the Bills have they're tied or right behind them. And, if they're going to score like 30 plus points, you'd have to think like one of these pieces gets there. My favorite, I'm just going to stick with, kind of more of the chalk here. If I'm playing Josh Allen, I'm probably just Josh Allen to Diggs. And like, I'm just doing like a skinny stack and no other plays. Or if I go the route of Singletary, I could see myself putting the Bills defense in that lineup as well. I still like playing. I'll still play like Singletary without the Bills defense or the Bills defense without Singletary, but that's a nice little correlation. I mean, Singletary is primed. Like if he gets the full allotment of snaps, like he's one of the best running back plays of the slate. I mean, at 6K projected right now for like 19 points. And that's like even with Zach Moss projected for some, and Breida probably will sit out again. But I mean, this seems like it's Singletary's backfield, and against the Jets, like my gosh, it's gonna be tough not to play like either the Bills defense, Diggs, or Singletary, like in a lineup. So definitely gonna have plenty of Bills this week. Next game, we have San Francisco going into LA. Both these teams will be playing the entire game. Rams playing for that number 1 in the division, and then the 49ers are playing to make the playoffs. So both these teams, entire game, a lot to play for. What do we got here?
I mean, Trey Lance did all right. He definitely paid for himself last week. 20 points for 4,800.
Yep.
That was nice. Now he's bumped up to 5,500, but I think Debo is going to be the play here. Like he's kind of been the go-to playmaker. I think Elijah Mitchell's back, so I think like he actually was running the ball when Eli was playing. So it's like kind of a game plan they have to throw things off. So I like Debo a lot here. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Cooper Kupp has very attainable, but also very high incentives left. Was it like 13 catches, 160 yards, something like that? I think
12 receptions and 136 yards, and he'd break both of those records, the reception record and the yards record.
Right. So obviously,
how many points does that put him at?
That would put him at 12 for 100. That was 16 with no touchdowns. He'd be at 28 fantasy points.
So
he's almost 10K though. That's the only problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he is appropriately priced right now. It is the same concept as Jonathan Taylor. The thing about him is though, he doesn't need multiple touchdowns. Like we said, Taylor needs, based off of just the type of position, he needs 2 touchdowns probably to get there. Cooper Kupp could get 28 fantasy points with 0 touchdowns. So it's different. That's why sometimes these expensive receivers can be better plays than the expensive running backs, but I mean, what do you think here? Because again, you can't play Taylor and Cup in the same lineup. I don't think.
No. I don't know. It's a lot of money, but
That's why this week I'm not being pulled.
Yeah.
I'm doing both. I'm going to pay down at running back and get up to Cup, pay up at Taylor, get down to some other cheaper. I feel like it's hard to, you can't really.
They're
It's
both
hard.
really good plays.
Yeah, they're both very.
I think Jonathan Taylor has a much easier defense to go against.
Well, San Francisco, I think those corners, like multiple corners now, like out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that secondary's been pretty banged up this like last 3 or 4 weeks.
Have no problem.
So
Well,
Yeah,
we thought that last
crazy.
week, and he didn't. I mean, Stafford didn't play very well, but
He
yeah,
still got what, 22 fantasy points?
what do you get? You got 21.
yeah, but they're both playing for something. Like the Jags are just they need to lose to get the number 1 picks. So
Yeah, like you could see this one like I don't think it will be like a shootout, but I mean this could be primed for a shootout. I
yeah,
mean,
this is a playoff game, right? It's
Lance-
an early playoff game.
Lance will sling it if you like the
Is he
dude.
playing?
I was
Yeah.
just- Jimmy G came back in practice, and the report is that Kyle Shanahan said he looked really good.
Yeah.
Really?
So
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I'm not
I
playing.
saw a report that Jimmy G like couldn't throw the ball or something.
No, he practiced. He practiced today, and
Wow.
on DraftKings it says Shanahan had good news to share with the media. Had a limited practice throwing session and looked good.
Yeah, this
Well,
is you don't play Trey Lance here with your playoff lives on the
I
line.
think
You
you,
play-
I think you
No,
go
you
balls
don't.
to the wall. I do.
no, you don't.
I'm a Saints fan, so like I want them to lose, and I would rather see Jimmy G here as a Saints fan.
I think if Jimmy G plays, I love Kittle. I mean, he with Jimmy G still being like maybe not 100% healthy, I don't know that he targets, and he doesn't anyways, target downfield throws a ton. So I think Kittle, even though he's a little bit pricier, I think people may be off of him this week because of the last 2 games he's put up pretty much nothing. But if Trey Lance is playing, I would not play Kittle because they use him as a blocker 80% of the time.
Yeah. I like off the Rams side. I like OBJ as well. He's been getting the targets. He's not been getting there with the yards, but he's been getting in the end zone. He's like last 2 games, like 7 targets, 8 targets. Like he's scored in each of the game. He's literally 1 play away from catching a deep ball and scoring. If he keeps getting the targets, especially down in the red zone, where they've been using him more often, I don't mind it. It's kind of if you're gonna fade Cup, which again do at your own accord, then go down to Odell at 5,800 and stack him with Stafford. I think it's not a terrible play. Now is it? I mean, it's probably the most risky play on the slate if you're going to be doing that. Just because if he doesn't get there with the yards and touchdown, then it's basically you just wipe out your entire tournament. But I like that because I think this is going to be a back and forth game. To be honest, each defense is not the greatest. I mean, the Rams defense is better than the 49ers defense, and especially in the secondary in terms. But it's not like the Rams defense has been all that great this entire year. So I don't mind like fully stacking this game. So I think there's plays here that you can separate.
I think both quarterbacks are in play. Like,
well, you don't like Jimmy G, so
no, well, I think Lance still plays, but that's just my guess. I mean, I could be completely wrong. And if Jimmy G plays, then I won't play any Jimmy G. I would just play because I mean, Jimmy G just doesn't have Lance's upside with how much Lance can run the ball. He even had a rushing touchdown call back. Lance did last week. But yeah, I'll even have some Stafford. Like obviously, if I'm playing Stafford, it's a double stack. It's Cup and Odell, Cup and Higbee, Odell and like it's 2 guys with Stafford, and then running it back, it would be probably Debo. I think I like him a little bit because they do use Kittle a lot more with Lance in there to block. But I think Michelle as a running back play is a great play. I mean, with like it's his back, but he plays like almost 100% of snaps. And when you are in an offense, a more high-powered offense like that, you get like Cup catching one right before the goal line, like then Michelle pounds it in. Like those things happen all the time. Michelle's path to winning a slate is there every single week. So I mean, I played him a ton last week, and I'm going to play him again this week.
So him and Eli Mitchell are at the same exact price.
Yeah, Michelle's
if Jimmy G is not 100% and he's still playing, that kind of makes me like Eli Mitchell a lot.
I prefer Michelle quite a lot more.
Just because of the matchup, or what?
Matchup plus Michelle catches more balls, and he doesn't have to worry about Debo vulturing maybe something at the goal line. Like if the 49ers, especially if Lance is in there, he could run one in. They randomly will rotate like Jeff Wilson. Like they just have way more options. Whereas exactly who's getting the ball on the Rams.
Yeah.
So I like Michelle quite a bit. Last game we have Seattle going into Arizona. Both these teams should be playing the whole game. Arizona's again battling with LA for that number one in the division, and Seattle is just kind of, it's I guess playing spoiler. Also, it's just
It's the last hurrah.
Yeah, like I don't see why I just see them playing everyone here.
Yeah. This has got my favorite stack of the week here.
This game a lot.
Yeah. I really like Kyler Murray and the amount of targets he's been giving to Zach Ertz. I think he has 38 targets in the last 3 games. And he's
crazy.
Only 5.3K still. So I like those two guys. And then running it back, I think a lot of people are going to be on DK after his performance last week. So I'm more inclined to go to Lockett here on the run back. I think we finally got DK back.
I know. I was waiting. I was on it every week and finally got it.
Finally.
The first time that I fade him,
yeah,
he did that.
That's why I couldn't do that to myself, because I knew it's DK. Like these games.
He's coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think in Seattle, like you've got a couple of teams where you've got 2 basically 1A and 1B guys, and I'm just always more inclined to go with the guy I think less people are going to be on, because I think both have similar.
Lockett, and I'm kind of on board with you there, because I've been on Metcalf. He got there, and now I'm fine with going back to I'll play Metcalf again for sure, but I do agree that I think I'll have more of Lockett.
I've been banging the Lockett train, or not banging the DK train this entire year because of what he's done, and of course he does what he does, and he didn't even have 100 yards, and he still had 30 points. Ridiculous. 3 touchdowns. So I think this is probably the game of the week in terms of scoring points as well. These 2 late afternoon games. I think there's definitely a lot of plays as well. People will probably be on Penny again. Don't play I'm going to say don't play Penny. I don't know. I think the Cardinals have a better run defense, obviously, than the Lions. So everyone's going to be looking
crazy his run, though. 137 yards, 135 yards, and 170 yards. He scored 5 touchdowns also in that 3-game span.
Where's he been all season?
Yeah, I mean, it's because Pete Carroll just didn't like him and doesn't like him still.
They had his dude on the roster when they signed AP. Like, what are they doing?
That's what nothing ever made sense with them. Like it never will, and that's why Carroll's got to go.
Yeah, so I think this is the last song here, sung in Seattle. So I'm going to be playing a lot of Seattle players. I like Russ at 6,300, which is very odd for where he's been, especially what he did last week. I understand it's the Lions. This is the Cardinals with better secondary, but they're going to go out on top. This is an inside game, dome game. Obviously Russ plays better at home, but I mean, when there's no weather elements involved, he should do pretty well. So you know what? This might be a game where you can get really crazy and do Russ, Lockett, and Metcalf. I'm not even kidding.
I don't mind it. I still probably would rather do like a Russ Metcalf Everett or a Russ Lockett Everett.
I only want to play Everett.
I won't have a lot of him, but I will have a little bit of him.
See,
it's so rare. It's just super rare that both Metcalf and Lockett have ceiling games.
No, I agree. I totally agree with what you're saying, but like again, I think this
You
is
know what
like,
I think it's okay with doing that in is like if you were playing like the $100 spy, for example, where there's like 4,400 people in there, you can get away with a Russ, Lockett, Metcalf because they don't need to hit their Millie Maker ceiling where like they're getting in like the 30s.
yeah,
You could have Metcalf get like 30 and Lockett get like 21, where in the Millie Maker, that's not going to win you. It's not going to
No.
give you the first. But only against 4,000, it's like the size of the field of the tournament matters when like doing stuff like that. So just like Mahomes, Tyreek, Kelsey doesn't ever really work in Millie Maker, but in like the spy,
Yeah.
you can
like
get
a
away
single
with that.
entry, like yeah,
Yes.
low. Yep. All right.
So, but oh no, I love this game. I mean, I'm playing tons of Kyler. I'm playing tons of Russ. I don't really like Penny this week. If Connor's out, I'm gonna like Edmonds a ton. Playing lots of Metcalf, Lockett, Christian Kirk, a little bit of AJ Green, and Ertz is my favorite tight end play of the whole slate. I mean,
Yeah.
the dude is averaging 10 targets in his last 4 games and has no like his touchdown regression or progression, I guess, is coming. And I love Ertz this week. I didn't think I'd say that in week 18 of this season because I do think he's out of his prime. But I mean, if he's getting this type of work, it's hard to avoid. So yeah, Ertz and probably Gronk's up there for some of my favorite tight end plays. But I think Ertz is still my favorite. But yeah, that wraps up this slate. Now we'll go ahead and go through our conviction plays and then build a lineup. So let's go ahead. Let me pull this up here. All right, we'll start out. Who wants to go first with their quarterback conviction play of the week? Who's going to be in the Millie Maker winner?
I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, I think it's Josh Allen at chalky. That is, I know he's cream of the crop, but he's perfect for what he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he could put up a 30 bagger pretty easy.
Interesting. Well, Josh Allen to be in the Millie Maker, we need like possibly in the mid 30s because you have to always understand with these expensive guys, it's opportunity cost as well as them also hitting their points. Like Josh Allen has to get that, and like someone like Sam Darnold, for example. If Sam Darnold gets like 26, it's probably more likely Darnold's in the winner than even after, like, you know,
he's done that 6 times this year. So lucky number 7. I mean, it's the Jets, you know.
I get it, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Kyler.
I mean,
You're at Kyler?
yeah.
Man, I was kind of thinking about picking Kyler too. I mean, good gracious, I like him a lot. But I really want to do Taysom. Well, since you went Kyler, if you didn't say Kyler, I was gonna say Kyler, but I'm gonna go Taysom then. I like Taysom a lot this week.
I'll go with Stafford. Playing for something and no secondary for the 49ers. So
He needs to figure it out too before the playoffs, man. He cannot be 3 picks in the
he needs one
playoffs.
of those get right games or whatever.
yeah,
All right, running back.
Singletary is probably my favorite play on the whole slate.
yeah. Assuming James Conner is out, I like Chase Edmonds the best for $5,800.
Corey, is it JT?
I mean, I don't want to say it because
You went Josh Allen to JT.
I know.
Corey, again, I have to
And
ask.
then Cooper Kupp at wide
Yeah,
receiver.
there you go. I'm like, Corey, let's see this lineup. I want to see what your lineup looks like, starting out with JT and Josh Allen.
I wonder who came up with the name Chalk Talk.
Corey, I think you're playing Barrios again this week.
No.
Okay, well, I'm curious to see how that lineup looks, but
I will put together a lineup right now.
all right. I gotta think. I think Alex and I, because like I like Kyler a lot, and man, it's gonna be hard for me to get away from Singletary against the Jets as long as they say like I just have to join you there. I love Singletary. Yeah, I love it. So I'm going with Singletary. And I've always also said I think running back is where you oftentimes it's fine like getting a higher owned chalky play at that running back spot. I like getting different more in my like secondary receiver plays, tight end, defense. That's where I pivot off of all the chalk and get different.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with getting my chalky piece in Singletary. Next we have receiver.
Give me Brandon Cooks.
I like that.
Jeez,
Were you gonna pick Cooks, Corey?
I was gonna pick Cooks.
Oh wow! You
I'll
can
go-
join me.
I'll go on the other side of the ball there. I'll go AJ Brown.
Then I'll take PBs. I'll take DJ Moore.
Oh, you can't take mine. I'm the only one talking about DJ Moore.
Yeah, okay. I'm just kidding. All right.
You
No,
must
I'll
have been
go.
convincing.
I'll go Tyler Lockett. I like Lockett.
Okay, I like Lockett a lot too, but yeah, it's DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Take him. You don't talk about him at all. Yeah, he's my conviction play. Okay. Tight end.
Yeah, we didn't
Zach
really
Ertz.
talk about tight ends. Yeah, Zach Ertz is like boom. Really talked about.
Yeah. I kind of like
Wrong.
Muth at 4.6K. I mean, Big Ben's obviously not Big Ben anymore, but he throws Muth the ball a decent amount, and that's like
He has a lot of
cheaper
touchdown
somewhere. Yeah, a lot of touchdown upside. But yeah, I mean, we all talked about Ertz here. Just getting so many looks.
Yeah. Just because I mentioned him earlier. I mean, I'm not huge on the game, but Hunter Henry at 4K. I like him just for the sheer volume that he gets and just like over the year. Not saying as of recently he hasn't been getting that, but I think this is a spot where he can bounce back and get into the end zone here.
Nick.
He said Ertz.
Yeah, I like Ertz.
So I'm actually like Ertz and Gronk are definitely my favorite plays, but I do think I could see a lot of ownership coming on them. So I think they're fine for whatever in cash, but I think for like a conviction for like a off the chalk tournament play, I think I'm gonna go Cole Kmet. It's kind of random, but I just think Fields looks at him a lot, and I think he does have touchdown equity. And it just gets you different by paying down 3.4K for a tight end. You're allowed to do some other things in your lineup, pay up for some more spots. So, but yeah, I mean, Ertz and Gronk are great plays. All right, let's go ahead and build our lineup, and then we'll get out of here.
All right. So who we looking at first? here?
Let's get some of these like agreement plays where some of us were like, we're on the same stuff here. So
Singletary.
yeah, so let's throw Singletary in here.
6K.
What else were some like we all pretty much liked Ertz or Gronk? Which one do we just Ertz?
I think you go.
Ertz, save some money.
Yeah. Okay, Ertz.
I want to try and target this Seattle, Arizona.
Yeah. So I think we're getting either. I mean, Alex and I both like Kyler.
I like Kyler too.
Okay.
He's in my Millie Baker.
Okay. So let's. And then so
Then
we're
do-
stacking him with. Well, we already have that Ertz and Murray stack. We could get a second Cardinal in there. Like
I like Chase Edmonds a lot, but
like
I
those
think it's
two
a
a
little
lot.
risky if James Conner plays.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if
I don't
like
want to redo the
Ertz.
lineup. So
I'm not sure if Ertz and Edmonds are the best ones to put together. So
yeah, I think you would do Kirk or AJ Green. I think
yeah,
Kirk has been getting a lot of targets though. I mean,
yeah.
like what is he? 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets so many. So yeah, I mean, if we do a double set, so we do need to get a Seattle guy. Is it Lockett? Are we going Lockett this week?
Yeah, I think you go Lockett this week.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're gonna.
All right, let's
Yeah,
get a
there's-
defense like it. What like a maybe so we can get more salary here. Let's start at the bottom and just start ruling things out. So
Lions maybe.
not if Rodgers is gonna play a whole half.
Yeah,
If he wasn't, yeah, I'd play Lions against Jordan Love, but
I go maybe Bears at
So I
No.
would do Browns, but I think they're going to be one of the chalkiest defenses of the week. So I think we have to get off that. So let's keep going up. I mean, the Giants against Washington, I don't mind, but keep going up. Maybe we can pay up more at defense. So far, the Giants are the only one down there that think's okay. I mean, the Ravens, we know Big Ben can just have a horrible game, but again, the Ravens defense is
Yeah,
like,
They haven't
I don't
been
want to
doing
ever.
very well.
all right, maybe we're paying up here because we know these defenses that are expensive are in amazing spots. All 4 of them up top.
I like the Colts and the Saints the best.
Honestly, the Bills against, I mean, oh my gosh, that I feel like to me it's the Bills or I think the Bills are the best. It's the Bills, Colts, or Bucks, I think. But no, we're playing. No, we're not playing.
I'd say Bills.
Okay, and we get the Singletary correlation, and that's good because like for anyone playing Josh Allen, like if Bill will score a defensive touchdown and then Singletary is getting the other ones, then that's why Josh Allen doesn't get there.
Yeah, but now we're here in a real pickle.
No, we're
So
not.
receiver
5,000 left.
receivers. Okay.
Okay, so we could get.
Who's the best cheap receiver? We haven't really talked about like a lower tier.
I mentioned Deontay Harris against the old Falcons there.
Too risky.
I mean, talking about tournament here.
He's only
See
32.
what that opens up. 33. Yeah. I mean, let's see what that opens up then for us.
6K.
6K for 2 more spots.
No JT.
No, can't get JT. It would be we need it's probably like another mid-range.
Someone under 8.
What about Foreman?
Mitchell or Michelle? Foreman is 57.
Yeah, I don't mind Foreman.
That leaves us 63. We got these guys.
Cooks is right there at 63.
Cooks.
And it's a mini correlation with Foreman.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I like it.
Yeah. Send it.
Feel good?
Yeah.
I like it.
All right.
Very nice.
All right. Well, that wraps up the final week of the season. We will be breaking down further slates when we get into the playoffs. So we'll be doing that all the way through the Super Bowl. We're going to do a Super Bowl showdown breakdown too, right?
Yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
All right.
We're gonna have plenty of time to talk about one game.
Yeah, that'll be. I'll love. I can't. And player props and national anthem props. Like we're gonna have. So all right. Hope you guys found some nuggets in this show. And we'll see you guys next week. If you have any teams in the playoffs, or I mean the Saints. We have the Colts playing for a spot here, but good luck and
Go Browns.
Bear down, baby.
all right. See you guys.